The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
Good evening and welcome to BronxTalk. In December 2009, the City Council defeated a proposal to put a mall in the long-empty Kingsbridge Armory. Since that time, 2.5 years ago, there's been a stirring dialogue on what should be in the Armory. Several plans were submitted in response to the city's RFP, and now, as we're possibly just weeks away from the EDC making a recommendation, there are two proposals left. One is from a company called Young Woo and Associates, who would build what they say is Mercado Marabo, a community-based world-class market emphasizing job and business creation and a venue and hub for entertainment, cultural, and sports activities. The other is from a group that includes former hockey superstar Mark Messier and Olympic figure skating champ Sarah Hughes, who would build the Kingsbridge National Ice Center, what they say would be the largest ice skating facility in the world. So we thought that rather than have Bronxites have to get filtered presentations of the plans through newspapers and news TV, that we would give the developers a chance to show you their plans directly so that you have an idea of what the possibilities are. What we've done is we've split the show in two, and each one of the presentations will take half the show to present their concepts. Note, the phones are not open tonight to ensure balance for each plan, but of course you can tell us what you think by emailing us at bronxtalk@hotmail.com, and we'll put your comments on the air during a future show and also publish them on our Facebook page. But for now, by prior agreement, the first presentation will be representing Mercado Marabo. It is Young Woo. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And Greg Carney. Mr. Carney, thank you also for joining us.
Glad
Let's
to be
talk
here.
about Mercado Marabo. Here it is. Tell the people of the Bronx, tell me, what is it and what do you envision in the Kingsbridge Armory?
Well, we want to create a place where market and culture and sports coexist and interact each other. And our key concept of this project is incubation. This is the place where startup people can start your business, from artists, chef, and vendors, and even musicians or even sportsmen who like to achieve their opportunity to next step. This is the place that we are creating.
Mr. Carney, why the Kingsbridge Armory for something like this? I assume you gentlemen are aware of the uniqueness of the facility, but what about that facility lends itself to a plan like the one we just heard?
Sure. I think the thing that attracted us most is the scale and the uniqueness of the interior space. You don't see it anywhere, right? Where else could you create that kind of volume of space? It's not just the footprint, but enormous ceiling heights and clear spans. We thought that was a unique opportunity to bring our design to a great historic structure and reactivate it.
What does the Bronx get out of your plan? Certainly one of the things, and we'll start with you and we'll let you both weigh in on it, certainly, as you know, the dialogue that's gone on, people are concerned about, and I mentioned at the top, about job creation, about growth. Well, what do the people of the Bronx get out of Mercado Marabo?
I think the biggest thing that we're focused on is economic opportunity for everyone. It's our economic opportunity, also for local businesses that already exist or are still a concept or a dream in someone's mind. We want to create a platform to allow all that to happen. Mm-hmm. That's our concept.
Mr. Young-Woo, how does that happen? In other words, describe to me the process by which the Bronx will develop, will do better economically as a result of this plan. By the way, I will tell viewers we're going to be showing photos of the plan and artist renderings and those things, so you can get an idea. We'll do that in just a moment. Go ahead.
Well, it is a humble place, truly representing Bronx community. For all those people can come and create their own opportunity, and easy to startups, because it's a place that you can. It's not like leasing a store that you have to go through lengthy process. This is an easy place that you can come even for one day, or you can start up any business any which way, have a complete freedom. That will make it such a special place.
You've done this sort of thing before in a couple of places in the city. Explain what you've done and how that would apply to what might happen at the Armory.
Right. Well, we have started decal market in Brooklyn last year. We recycled the shipping containers and created a place for great gathering place. And it was a empty parking lot where we brought the life, and it's created a unbelievable phenomenon where all those vendors came from locally and showing their creativeness and their enthusiasm and mingling with the culture and the music. And is one of the fascinating place now to visit.
And it is a successful venture there. It is doing things like, number one, creating jobs and economic growth, as well as giving people a chance to express. I'm making an assumption, but that's what you're saying. It worked there, so why can't it work here?
Yeah, market idea is not a new idea. It has been around for thousands of years. And then this market concept has been overpowered by shopping malls idea. But we truly believe it's coming back, where it's promoting local economics, and it's a place to experience the human contact and seeing something, an opportunity to create discussion.
Mr. Carney, is it different from just kind of a very large flea market? And I'll add along to that question, don't we in the Bronx have enough 99-cent stores and flea markets and things like that, that we need, gee whiz, yet another place where people are going to kind of walk around and buy, for want of a better term, cheap goods?
Sure. Well, if people have seen DeKalb Market, I think they already realize it's much, much different from that. The individual tenants and merchants are handpicked. Not everyone that comes with an idea and a concept gets into the market. We want them to mix together well, and then to bring products, price points that vary. It's not all discount, in fact, very little discount. It's not all high end. We want to be able to cater to different layers of the community, and then create a community within the community, if you will, a community of business people that are working together.
What if people of the Bronx don't have these businesses already and are not, and they say, well, that's a nice concept, and we'd like to do high-end sales, but really, our mercantile abilities and resources are not there. We know what the economic level of the people of the Bronx has been.
But they buy, they shop, they create, they aspire. I think they're people just like we all are, right? There are ideas and concepts out there that are looking for a home. We believe that. We've seen it in Brooklyn. We've seen it elsewhere. You just have to create that environment that allows people to make that entry. As Young said, it's a low cost of entry, not a lot of legal wrangling, not a lot of design. We take care of that. We create that platform. So you don't have to have a lot of money and a sophisticated business plan. You just need to aspire to start up a business and have that willpower to come into our project.
Let's put some of the pictures up, Jane, if you would, so people can get an idea of what we're talking about. We don't have a ton of time, but I want to roll through them. So let's put up the first photo if we can. Do we have that photo? Okay, so this is the lead page, but let's get to the photos. That's certainly what we want. Okay, now there's you gentlemen can take a look there. Give me an idea of what we're looking at here, and how that certainly gives you a feeling of the electric nature of what you're proposing. Explain what it is we're looking at.
Well, development concept is based on town square. It's like when you go to Europe, there's a piazza in small town. There's a playa in South America. It's a place where you can go, you can take your family, and it's happened sometimes. There's a sports event happen, there's an art display.
Let's roll through some of the pictures while he's talking. Go ahead.
So about the market that we are creating is very different from flea market. For example, Monday through Friday, this is a work sale space. They actually make jewelry there. They make shoes. They make ties. They make umbrella, and they can do wholesale. They can do online sale. Then when it comes to weekend, they open up this as a retail store where family and people can come and experience and interact with the merchant.
Among the things, Mr. Carney, in the plan are they talked about the Gauchos basketball team and fitting sports. And how does a sports venue and like let's say the Gauchos need to practice on Monday afternoon, but you've got it set up because you've got your merchandising there. How does that work, and who coordinates that? And do you have to say, gee, you got to wait because we have something else going on?
Sure. First of all, we curate.
Leave that picture up. That's the most revealing of all the photos, I think.
We curate and manage all of the programming in the space. And again, during the week, it's primarily for sports and cultural programming. The retail sales are not going to be predominantly during the week. Evenings, weekend. So there's a natural progression and exchange where the sports can come in, the merchants can go out. Likewise, on other times, they exchange. There is a permanent ring of market merchants around that entire venue. So there's always a retail presence, but it's down during the week and during the day.
Let's do some of the particulars. Parking, is there sufficient parking? Because certainly if you're going to bring in the kind of commerce that you would need to make this work, is there sufficient parking? And also another aspect of this is, will those kinds of businesses hurt the mom and pop shops that have populated Kingsbridge Road and Fordham Road for generations?
Well, in our DeKalb market experience, we don't have a single parking space there. And most of them comes by bike and by the bus and subway. We other day had an event where we showed the movie that you must bring the bicycle. We had about 3,000 bicyclists that showed up and enjoying the market and evening with the movie.
So then, in addition to all the other aspects of it, the suggestion would be that you'd be changing lifestyles in a way around the Bronx too, because you've been giving people a motivation to express themselves, to create their own businesses, and maybe even change their lifestyles, whether using public transportation or using bicycles, or even walking or running and getting there in that way.
Of course, I think lifestyle is a very important thing, and we like to bring this future trend of lifestyle here, where it's done by Bronx people and by the community people.
What about a movie theater? There was a notion that there would be a 6-screen movie theater. That's a permanent facility that would be incorporated in here as well?
Yes, it's one of the anchors, and we actually have an in-place agreement with a group called CJ, Media and Entertainment, which is an international group that does actually state-of-the-art 4D movie formats. They're going to come in and do that 6-screen. It's meant to augment the daytime and weeknight programming with film production. I
guess it sounds remarkable when you think about all the different elements that would be in there. I'm going to give you, Young Woo, a chance to just summarize. What's the selling point? What should Bronxites need to hear to say, wow, this is what we'd like to see at the Kingsbridge Armory?
I think this can be it's like leading up the match. I think this kind of shows opportunity, it's kind of shows the motivation, and it kind of shows that ability for anybody can come in. It's a very humble place, humble market, easy entry. I think that one makes this market so special. And there are places like Camden Lock in London, we are so successful. Now it's the 4th largest visiting market in London.
Young Woo, thank you so much. Greg Carney, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Good luck with the plan. As I told you before the show, I love both the plans, but it's really been our pleasure to have you and present it to the Bronx. And what we're going to do now, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll bring on the other presentation. You'll get a chance to see what the other idea is. So don't go away. More Bronx Talk right after this.
Clean
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Okay, back with you on Bronx Talk. We're talking about the Kingsbridge Armory, and this is plan number 2, or A and B. We certainly don't have a preference here. We're just presenting them. It's Jonathan Richter from the Kingsbridge National Ice Center. Thank you so much for joining us. Explain to me, what is the idea of a Kingsbridge National Ice Center, and why should Bronxites think, wow, this is a great plan for the Kingsbridge Armory?
Sure. We spent a lot of time thinking about the Armory before we came up with the plan. We also spent a lot of time doing research on prior failures and trying to redevelop the Armory. We knew that this wasn't the first time to redevelop the Armory. We knew that the community really had high aspirations for what would happen at the Kingsbridge Armory, and they had a lot of boxes to check. They were looking for, living wage was an important element in the last proposal. The community was very vocal about they wanted something that was additive to the recreational and educational mix in the Bronx. And so, as we looked at the Kingsbridge Armory, we spent a number of years looking for a place to land ice facilities in New York City. It's next to impossible to find a site where you can land ice sports facilities in New York, and there's a real dearth of
So
ice sports
you found
activities.
that I'm assuming that the size of the Kingsbridge Armory, the available space would make it worthwhile, and certainly make it possible for you to do what it is that you'd like to do.
Yeah, the Armory is an enormous building. It's 180,000 feet with a drill hall floor that's 110, 120 feet high. That's maybe 20% of the Armory. The rest of the Armory, it's over 700,000 square feet. The volume of the space allows us to get 9 rinks.
9 rinks, 9 skating rinks.
9 skating rinks, NHL size and international size rinks, including a 4,000 to 5,000 seat center performance arena in the Armory. That's just part of what's happening in the Armory. I think a lot of people are focused on the ice sports element of the Armory. There's a significant amount of community space that is part of our program. Along Jerome Avenue, we have 50 to 60,000 square feet of community space. We have over 20,000 square feet in the head house of community space.
And what would you put in there?
We've purposefully not been prescriptive around what is going to go into the community space. We know that there are a number of organizations that provide education and outreach opportunities in the Bronx. We know a block away that Lehman College has done a tremendous job with the community. So what we don't want to do is duplicate other programs that exist in the Bronx, and we're really reaching out to the community to find out what.
So there will be some wiggle room as far as that.
Absolutely, with respect to programming.
I think when the notion of this National Ice Center came up, the first question that I have about the idea of 9 skating rinks, if this was Montreal or if this was Winnipeg, then
Sure.
I would say, well, of course, that's what the people do.
Yeah.
The Bronx is certainly not known for its ice skating
Sure.
interest or prowess. How are you going to be able to introduce the concept of ice skating so that there actually will be Bronx people to utilize it, and then, of course, the borough of the Bronx benefits from it?
Sure. No, it's a great question, and it's one that
it's the question,
and
really.
it's one that we get asked a lot. How does ice sports? How do ice sports relate to the Bronx community? The Bronx community, New York City really does not have a lot of ice. New York City is an ice sports hotbed. Woolman Rink has the country's largest Learn to Skate program. In the metro area, including New Jersey, we have 3 NHL teams. It's the second, ice hockey is the second most watched sport behind baseball.
So you think you can interest Bronxites in the process?
Absolutely. If you don't have to look far. You can look down to Philadelphia. Ed Snyder has done a phenomenal job with kids in Philadelphia, introducing them to ice sports. You know, the communities that he's introduced ice sports have a very similar demographic, almost an identical demographic to the Bronx. Mm-hmm. He has over 2,500 kids involved in a free after-school program. These kids show up 3 times. Actually, before the kids show up, they have to bring their report card and their school attendance record.
And you would do something like that?
Snyder's given us his playbook, so we're going to do exactly the same thing that Snyder has done, but we're going to supplement that with a greater educational component. So we have partnered with the New York Academy of Sciences to provide free tutoring after school. So Snyder runs his program after school. Kids show up with a report card and attendance record. They get on the ice for free. They show up 3 times. There's a little ceremony. They get a bag of equipment for free. The skates are there. They show up 10 times, and they get to take that bag of equipment home.
I was going to ask you about the equipment. One of the reasons, as we're looking at some of the renderings of what this might look like, you know, one of the reasons that, and I don't think there's any secret about it, that ice hockey doesn't catch on very easily in urban places is the cost of equipment. The skates and certainly hockey equipment. Sure. I know my son played hockey, and every time he grew up another couple inches, you had to go through another whole uniform. How can Bronx kids get real excited about it if they don't always have the resources to buy the equipment?
That's a big part of our program, and that's Mark Messier and Sarah Hughes. Mark Messier, Ranger captain and icon in ice sports, second greatest player of all time. Sarah Hughes, gold medal figure skater winner, lives on the Upper West Side. They couldn't be more excited about getting involved and introducing kids to the sport. So we are creating a foundation for kids to get access to ice sports. We're also going to have an outdoor rink that's open, a seasonal rink that's open for people to skate outside the Armory. We're going to have an indoor rink that's available for general skating. It's not just about kids; it's about kids young and old getting in and enjoying getting on the ice. It's ice hockey, it's figure skating, it's speed skating, and the Armory's huge. It's 700,000 square feet. We have curling in the basement too. So it's we look at it as there's going to be something for everybody on the ice.
In the proposals and the things that I read, they talked about an ice sport themed high school and those kinds of things. They had even speculated about having a K through 8 school on the property. Many people in the Bronx had talked about schools for many years. Is this reality, or is this yet again, the people of the Bronx know this, another promise? You're going to get schools, you're going to get this, but you know what? The city's not ready to pony up, and you're not going to be able to get it done.
Education is central to the theme, sports and education, and there are plenty of examples of how sports have been used as a carrot, so to speak, and have enhanced performance from an educational standpoint. We have the after-school program for kids, the after-school tutoring program. We have designs on creating an ice sports school. It's not part of the RFP response, but the north parcel of the site provides a tremendous opportunity to create an ice sports purpose school. And so we've partnered with Richard Kahn. Richard Kahn's been involved in urban redevelopment projects since the 70s. He was responsible for Battery Park City and Javits Center and the Riverside Rail Yards and take the field and creating the urban assembly. We sat down with him and we talked about the marriage of sports and education. He gets it. He has a school in the Bronx that's a sports and education school. It's the only school in New York City. Lots of schools in New York we can go to for performing arts, for aeronautics. We think that Kingsbridge National Ice Center is a natural for a public school for kids that are interested not just in ice sports, but introducing them to avenues in sports, sports media, sports training and development, sports medicine.
One of the catchwords or catchphrases that came about when the original plan was jettisoned and we got to this point was that it needs to be an economic engine for the Bronx. Mm-hmm. I think people can easily understand how it can be a developmental and an educational engine. Mm-hmm. How does this turn out to be an economic engine providing jobs and opportunities that will help from a development perspective improve the borough of the Bronx?
Sure, that's a great question. It's one of the outcomes. I often talk to people not just about the Armory and about ice sports. It's really the Armory and ice sports are secondary to what sort of outcomes you arrive at from an urban regeneration project. This is a supercharged economic development engine. The present value economic benefits of this project are $1.4 billion. That's not including what we can do on the north parcel.
In what period of time?
That's a present value. So that's present value and the economic benefits that come out of this project. So if you took all of the benefits.
And that comes through what? Job creation, people who have to manage the facility, run the facility?
Enormous job creation. During construction, over 1,800 jobs. Post-construction during operations, in excess of 170 jobs under the roof of the Armory, over 500 what they call full-time equivalent jobs. These are jobs in the supply chain as we run leagues and host tournaments and events and have shows at the Armory. These are jobs that exist in the supply. This facility has visitors that approach, and it's going to be a little bit surprising, approach MoMA and Highline type numbers. And so it's 3 million visitors a year. What this isn't, though, is Yankee Stadium with 50,000 people showing up for an event and leaving. This is 365 days a year, 18 to 20 hours a day. So it's distributed, 3 million visitors distributed throughout the day.
Many more questions, but not a lot of time. Just
Sure.
give me the summary. Why should people in the Bronx say to themselves after watching this show, you know what, I kind of like the Ice Center proposal? What are the 30-second catchwords here that you think will really resonate with Bronx people?
I think you can bucket into 4 areas. It's transformation of an icon in the Bronx that's going to get local, national, and international attention. It's about community development. It's about economic development. And it's about doing something in a sustainable way. We didn't touch on that, the sustainable nature of this project during our conversation, but this building is going to be LEED Gold certified.
Jonathan Richter from the Kingsbridge National Ice Center, thank you. Good luck to your plan.
Thank
I know
you.
Jane is going to put up a website. We also have the website from the previous plan that we're going to put up. I do appreciate you joining us. We certainly appreciate the people from Mercado Marabo for joining us. And we hope that in the long run, regardless of what's there, the people of the Bronx do better. That's what this is all
That's
about.
great.
So we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Folks, if you would like to tell us what you thought of either or both of the plans, or if you have further comments or questions on anything you heard on tonight's show or anything going on in the Bronx, then email them to us at bronxtalk@hotmail.com, and we'll read those on the air during a future edition of our program. Archives of Bronx Talk are available at bronxnet.org. You click Bronx Talk on the right-hand navigation bar. Also, please become a fan of Bronx Talk on Facebook. Now, next week we'll start a 2-week debate series. On the 20th, it will be the race for the Democratic primary in the 87th Assembly District, featuring Daniel Figueroa and Louis Sepulveda. On the 27th, it's the race in the 80th Assembly District, the Democratic primary that features Naomi Rivera, Mark Jonadge, Irene Rukaj, and Adam Bermudez. All the candidates in both races have been invited to participate. The gorgeous new set for Bronx Talk was custom designed for us by BronxNet's Gene Elton, based on an original mural by Bronx artist Danny Halpin. Thanks to Jane Folloro, our producer, to Michael Arias, the director, to Dina, to the cast of thousands around here, and to you. Good night.